Did I fucking understand everything that was going on? No, but I appreciated the weirdness. Hello friends! It's time. It's time for me to unpack my books. So what we got here, these shelves used to be in the apartment. How it used to be was these two in the corner were to the right of the window in the bedroom. This long boy used to be all the way to the left with like a 5-foot gap between them with this little shelf that's behind the camera that was over the radiator. It was really designed to fit around that window. We're gonna make do with these for a while. At some point, my partner's probably going to build me new bookshelves that better fit this room, but that'll be down the line. So for now, I'm gonna unpack stuff. I'm gonna reorganize things because I think in the future I kind of want a little chair. I want a reading chair in here, and probably like this, the corner will be background for book filming stuff. So it used to be that all of my young adult middle grade fit in the big bookshelf with some extra stuff on the bottom. And you know, they're each shelf is like a slightly different size. So we're gonna start unpacking things and just kind of roughing them in where I think they're gonna go. Gonna make sure to leave room for my husband's books. And we're just gonna see how it goes. Okay, here's what we got so far. Partner's books down there. Oversize, art books, mythology, nonfiction, more nonfiction, short stories, plays, poetry, graphic novels, and for now, unread books in Spanish. When I figure out what I'm going to do for my unread shelf, my TBR, those might move. But for now, that's kind of what's going on here. Alright, now I gotta get started on... I think I want to do YA on this side, fiction and adult sci-fi fantasy over here. So like that's primary background for filming with a little bit of glimpses of the YA stuff. Let's see if that all fits.
have you put the corner bracket back up for stability on that thing?
Okay, so by corner bracket, I feel the holes.
Oh, okay.
Okay, we'll put that up soon. Okay, so I have this super roughed in. Let's see, this box of magazines I know lived on top. The Control Alt Delete books I know lived on top. There's one box that I know has some books that were, oh no. Got those and my old and decorative books that used to live on here. And it's funny, because I don't really have room for them with this layout. So let's investigate what's going on. Okay. So I have like an entire box worth of books that don't fit on here. So I think what's happening is clearly this gap was filled in the old layout. My partner's books are probably about that tight. Let's see, this is all YA. But like you see gaps like this, because I have one more shelf for this extra wide bookshelf. And then I have one more, I think it goes to this shelf. Because you can kind of see how much space, oh, my camera's autofocus is having trouble. How much space is like between some of these books. And I definitely had some things, you know, stacked on top of each other like I do with my Tamora Pierce shelf. So I think that's where I found the room for one more box of books, but I think once I figure out how to like make sure everything's actually secure to each other and safe, because we live in earthquake country, I'm gonna put some more stuff on the top and really, you know, use, and I think whenever we get the new shelves for this space, they're gonna go all the way to the top. Almost everything is unboxed. I mean, enough to really gain usability of this room. Well, I say that once I fucking clean up all that mess. So, okay. This is where I'm gonna end filming today, because it's also almost 5 o'clock. And I gotta clean up all this mess. But if I do have a day where, you know, I'm doing a big old bunch of reorganizing or something, maybe I'll film that. Maybe that will not be in the near future. I don't know. Definitely made progress. That feels good. Okay, so it's another day. So today we're gonna be trying out an idea for my TBR shelf. So I changed out the little wooden table that was here in the last part of this video, because that is an old sewing table that I'm going to be trying to sell at some point. But I had this little cart that was in my closet in the old apartment. And it had been hiding in the garage. I'm like, you know what, let me try that. So we got this big ass shelf on the bottom. I think at some point I want to get some bookends, like some kind of low profile L-shaped bookends, so I can really stand stuff up, because there's like there's like no lip on this. So for now I'm gonna just be stacking stuff so they don't fall over. But anyway, we're gonna tackle this pile of books here, and just see volume wise how this is gonna work. Yeah, and you'll be getting a sneak peek of a bunch of, like, all the books that I have not filmed book hauls for. So this is from a publisher. I believe this was from a Goodreads giveaway. This is The Surviving Sky by Kritika H. Rao. Very interesting cover. Oh, there's so much detail in here that I did not pick up on the small thumbnail, but there's so much detail in that tree there. So this sounds like science fantasy, floating civilizations. So this is like about a married couple doing something. That's interesting. I don't feel like you get a lot of books like unless it's like a romance or like unless it's like about the marriage relationship as like a plot point of the book, but like in terms of like a dynamic, like a character, like a character relationship within a totally different genre, I don't feel like you often follow like a married couple. So interesting. So I have one unopened book and then 3 unopened books that I got from Better World Books. Oh, hi, squirrel. He's got a big old peanut in his mouth. Okay, open. Oh, I don't have any cutting implements and I don't want to get up off the floor. Tell me you're in your mid-30s without telling me you're in your mid-30s. Well, fuck. It's not that big a deal. But I'm questioning whether that's my fuck up or theirs. So, I recently read The Shamer's Daughter. It is a middle grade fantasy that I really, really enjoyed. So I bought the rest of the books. And I meant to buy each of them in a different cover style. Because it's like I either want all of my editions to match, or if they have enough different editions, I kind of want one of each. And these two are clearly the same edition. Not a big deal. They're secondhand books. These are clearly former library books. Anyway, so let's see. Book 2 is The Shamer's Signet. Book 3 is The Serpent Gift. It's kind of a flute thing. And book 4, The Shamer's War, which is this really cool foiled design. So the concept of The Shamer's Daughter is this lineage of woman. We mostly follow the daughter, but her mother is also a shamer, meaning she looks in someone's eyes and sees their shame and it is impossible to lie to them. And her mother gets called in, for questioning a guilty person in a murder. And her mother says, no, he didn't do it. He didn't do it. Like, I know the evidence looks like it's him, but it's not him. And the other person in power rejects that and tries to like destroy her as a witch. And anyway, so her daughter gets roped into it. It's this whole plot to frame this person for this crime, and then because the daughter, being her mother's daughter, like also refuses to lie, they end up exposing this whole big kingdom fuck up kind of thing. Yeah, so excited to continue on with that. Yeah, so I think they're originally published in Danish, but the author does her own English translation. So Leen Kaberbal is both the author and the translator, but the first publications were in Danish. So then next from Better World Books, I got Taktumi, an anthology of Arctic horror stories. I mean, you can barely see it, but there's a raven in there. So this is definitely smaller than I thought it would be. It's a collection of short stories. Indigenous horror is something else, and it is having a moment right now, and I'm as someone who is dipping their toes into horror, I feel like this is a very exciting time where we are getting there is such a variety of stuff out there right now. So anyway, this is one I have been like keeping my eye out for, especially like for a secondhand copy. Like, as much as I talk about and ethically support like buying new when you want to like support someone, also like budget wise and carbon footprint wise, I will always look secondhand first. So got very excited when I found this. Also got very excited when I found this. This is Moonshot, the Indigenous Comics Collection, Volume 1. I believe they now have three volumes. So this had been sold out everywhere for a long-ass time, except I found the publishers still had copies, and I was about to buy a new copy. And then I searched for this on Better World Books when they were having this particular sale, and they had this one. So cool. All right. So maybe when I'm looking for volume 2 or 3, I'll know to go back to the publishers, because they had an inventory when Amazon was out, Bookshop was out. The supplier for one of my local bookstores, was back ordered with no estimate date. But anyway, so lesson for me, lesson for you, if you're really trying to track down a book that should still be in print, check with the publisher. And the last book I picked up was The Silent House by Nell Patterson. This is a murder mystery. This is a book I bought because I want to read it and see if I think this is something my mother-in-law will really like. She really likes like crime drama, murder mystery books. But this was also a book that, why did her name just go right the fuck out of my head? Hold on, there, I have one of her books. Jen Campbell here on BookTube. She read this and thought it was very interesting. So the premise of this is a murder occurs in a house where the whole family is deaf and the only surviving member is deaf. And the crime happened at night, so nothing woke them up. If there was an intruder in the home, they wouldn't have woken up because they're deaf. They wouldn't have noticed. Let's see, and the police call Paige Northwood to the scene to interpret for the witnesses. So we have deaf, disability representation, and then our protagonist is, I assume, sign language interpreter. And this one was also one that was kind of hard to find. I don't know. I know it was originally published in the UK, and I don't know if it's had its own like US published date. I've started seeing secondhand copies pop up over here, but I haven't seen this in stores yet. So anyway, sounds interesting. And I've also been like, okay, Jen Campbell is an author and reviewer with several disabilities of her own, and while deafness or being hard of hearing is not one of her disabilities, she is somebody who has a lot of sensitivity when it comes to the broad spectrum of disability representation. So if she was like, yeah, this was, if she didn't throw up any red flags about this one, that piqued my interest even more. And then most recent book haul, where I almost bought 5 books for $100 and could not make myself do it, so I put one back. And I still spent $75.94 with one of these books. That one's used. Okay, 2 of them were used. Books are getting fucking expensive, y'all. Okay, so anyway, I went to my favorite bookstore to pick up The Adventures of Amin al-Sarafi by Shannon Chakraborty, the author of City of Brass, claim to fame. So this one's new. Excited. I've been hearing good things about this. I've heard it's a fun time. Excited for this. And then while I was browsing things, I saw this, which I was like, I feel like I'd heard about, but it wasn't on my Goodreads want to read list. But this is right up my alley. This is On the Line, 2 Women's Epic Fight to Build a Union by Daisy Pitkin. So this is a nonfiction. On the Line takes readers inside a bold 5-year campaign to organize workers in the dangerous industrial laundry factories of Phoenix. The drive to unionize is led by 2 women, author Daisy Pitkin, a young labor organizer, and Alma Gomez Garcia, a second-shift immigrant worker who risks her livelihood to join the struggle and to whom this exhilarating narrative is addressed. But when political strife divides the union, Pitkin must reflect on her own position of privilege and the complicated nature of union hierarchies. So not only pro-labor, pro-union, and pro-women in the labor movement, but also intersectional identities at play within that. So it'll probably be a stressful time, but I hope it is also inspiring and informative. And then the secondhand books I found another nonfiction, South to America, A Journey Below the Mason-Dixon to Understand the Soul of a Nation by Imani Perry. This is a fairly new release. This was on my new release interest list. Nothing I think I've made a video about, but like a little note I've kind of kept for myself. National Book Award winner. Yeah, so this was kind of on my radar, and I saw a secondhand copy. I'm like, fuck yeah. Love it. And then the other secondhand one I found was Star Splitter by Matthew J. Star Splitter by Matthew J. Kirby. This is a fairly new release, young adult sci-fi. I recently heard a Beautifully Bookish Bethany rave about this. I have been trying to read more sci-fi. I have always loved science fiction and fantasy since I was old enough to read A Wrinkle in Time at the age of like 8. Which some of y'all might be like, you as an 8-year-old read A Wrinkle in Time? Did I fucking understand everything that was going on? No, but I appreciated the weirdness. But yeah, I read a lot of fantasy and I don't actually read that much science fiction organically. So I've been kind of making an effort to actually incorporate more science fiction into my reading. And yeah, this sounded very interesting. I was about to say, like, I don't really remember the premise off the top of my head, but like this intro blurb is like, wow, I really don't remember what the fuck this is actually about. I don't care how many prep classes you take, or how many counseling sessions you go through, or how many waivers you sign. None of it actually prepares you to be burned apart by a laser atom by atom. That's ominous. Okay, so this is something about, like, something going wrong with teleportation. Anyway, I'm excited. Okay. I know I have other new-ish stuff that I have not talked about in book hauls, but those are the things that I've acquired in like the last 60 days or so. So let me unpack the rest of this shit and start to make it look pretty. Kind of roughly by size. Big hardbacks, smaller hardbacks, some like middle grade stuff, smaller paperbacks, and then this is my stack of nonfiction. But I realized, well, all of like my oversized-ish stuff doesn't fit in that. So I'm gonna switch these two. And see if I can get some room to put a couple of my tall stuff vertical. And I have my Amnesia Reads kind of towards the back here, and then a stack in the back here of like second, third, continuing in a series where like I've started the series, or like, you know, for The Damned here, I have The Ruined back here, because I'm going to read this definitely before I read the next one. So that one doesn't need to be in the front. we're mostly in frame. We're mostly in frame. Yeah, so that is like full to bursting. So I think long term, I'm gonna need to do other things with this. I have an idea. So we did a little reorganization in the pantry and the kitchen and took out all of these little spice racks from IKEA. And I was thinking of, like above this little table on the wall up here, putting a bunch of these and then being able to put like covers facing out, and maybe that would be like part of a filming background if I didn't want it to be all bookshelves. Okay, so in terms of unpacking my books, what I have left are my giant Control-Alt-Delete comics collection part 1, and then like my really old and decorative books, which I thought were going to live on the top of the bookshelves. But I need to wait on that because we need to put the anchor in for the corner shelves. We need to do some earthquake proofing. Okay, I know at this point I will end this video here. At this point I will call the unpacking my books done. Anyway, I hope you have enjoyed the process as much as I have. I hope you have a good rest of your day. I encourage you to go out into the world and be curious. I will have my social media and all the places where you can find me in the description box below. And I will catch you folks in my next video. Bye!